Here we go. Let's get it rolling,
All right.
dog.
Let's talk about week 9. What are we on now? Week 9
10.
recap and starting for
Yep.
week 10.
Well, the week 9 recap. We're on week 10. You are correct. Don't let him fool you, Padog. We
Yeah.
got you.
That's more or less what I said. Everybody have a good week? Everybody except Chisholm still safe?
Chisholm's got a new head.
I got a new head.
What do you mean? And you can
Yeah,
listen
we,
to it on our...
We're going to hopefully release a separate pod that's got a partial draft.
I didn't do it like this. I just did.
Wow, wow, wow. Burner. That's it. So,
All
yeah,
right,
you're
so
growing heads. We got
Chisholm has a new life.
Regeneration
It is,
Nation when you get releagued.
That's right.
Yep. Relegation. We have a separate episode for that, at least part of that draft. We talk a little bit of strategy and go through a mock draft. A real draft, but it's simulating a mock draft, I guess you would say.
No, I think it was a real draft. It's not mock at all.
That was the issue, is that we couldn't just mock it. It was a real draft that was happening, and we were really invested in it, but we had a lot of work issues, which slowed some of us getting on in time. And so we got there. I think we had some pretty interesting things to say and some excellent discussion. And I really think we drafted the best team. I'm not even playing.
Yeah.
We definitely beat the auto drafter, but that's another story.
Yeah, there's some hilarity.
guy
We are
with,
laughing pretty hard. If you want the humor of listening to us, pick fun at our fellow league mates. So
if you want the Cliff's Notes version, it's pay attention to bye weeks.
Pay attention to bye
certainly
weeks.
Don't take 5 consecutive players on week 12.
Right.
In a real-league game, you don't have enough bench spots to put them all in. But hey, that's neither here nor there. We're not talking about his week 10 prospects because there are none.
Yeah.
So he certainly doesn't have any week 12. So
Absolutely.
anyway, we'll get on to real time. So Lewis, how did your week go? How did you do?
Well, I had a great Thursday. Had Tank Dell, who ended up with like 18 points. And then I had a really rough till the second half of the first 1 o'clock games. I had 18 points, and then I had like 25 points by the end of the first half, and I was starting to get a little bit of sweat rolling. But then I had a huge blow up with everybody after that. Josh Allen with the 22-point half. It's like a 1-point half and a 22-point half, so you got to be happy with like at least something. It'd be nice if he had 2 22-point halves. Ended up being third, I think it was, after Travis Kelce's best night of the season. It didn't matter because was not catching number 1 this week. He had like 160 points and just absolutely housed everybody. So
yeah, I mean Josh Allen, like we said last week, wasn't it another True Biscuit game?
No, it wasn't.
Actually, not this one. You're right.
No,
this one they had to hang on the end because it's the Buffalo Miami. Yeah.
61-yard field goal that would have been
Tyler
from
Bass.
80. Like that thing was insane.
I can't believe he nailed it so far too. Tyler Bass kicked that thing into like the second row from 61. It's stupid. Like the way the kickers are now, like it used to be kind of a joke, right? Like growing up, a 50-yard, man, we got to the 33-yard line, like, whoa, that's still 50 yards. I don't know about that.
Yeah.
Now
50.
It's like, hell, are you on the other side of the field? Let's go, bro. It's only 69.
Yeah. Used to like a 54-yarder was about the end of everybody's range.
All right. Padog, did you survive another week?
Oh, dude. Alvin Kamara and Saquon had 60 points between the two of them.
Very helpful.
And then Cortland Sutton had more passing touchdowns than anyone else on my team.
Good job, CJ.
So, yeah,
That's
so
awesome.
Sutton and Saquon and Kamara had 85 points between the 3 spots. So I ended up with 126 points.
Very nice. That's good
week. Good week.
Yeah, I was in the sweats for a minute. No joke. I wasn't feeling good. And then all of a sudden everything turned great. Because Saquon started making probably the most, I'm sure there's other good ones, right? But this is the most memorable of recent history.
I honestly think
jumps over people backwards? That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard of.
I honestly think it's hard for me to say this because I watched Barry Sanders. And
Barry Sanders tier.
He had
never seen anything like this.
But I think it may have been the greatest run I've ever seen.
Yeah, I mean, 2 jukes, wiggles, and then he jumps and hurdles someone backwards. He straddled him backwards.
For 4 extra yards or something.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's unbelievable. Like, just a phenomenal run. Phenomenal. Unbelievable.
It literally was like a Neo sense of like where something was coming from when you don't even see it. That's what it had.
It was the Matrix.
Yes.
It was just super weird.
It's amazing.
Yeah, young kids out there, don't try that. You'll get, I don't even want to know. All right, so at the end of the day, though, everybody kind of rallied at the end. Saquon got me a big cushion. Then my big dilemma last week, seems funny now looking back, but Jordan Love actually was going to start in his Detroit, and I thought it could be a high-flying game. Then I looked, and it was all rainy and crappy. I'm like, God, he's got a bad growing. He's probably going to suck. So I just put Patrick Mahomes in, and, man, glad I did that. Probably had Patty's best fantasy game of the season.
For sure.
So 3 touchdowns, 290. That was very helpful, especially considering Love did.
It was unnecessary at that point, though. Let's not get ourselves.
That's true. That's true.
True story. It was unnecessary at that time, but not when I put it in because I thought I might have needed those points.
Yeah.
But regardless, pretty good week. We got our head on for another week, and we're rolling. And if we go
my
into
biggest highlight is that Nico Collins is coming back for week 10.
That's going to help a lot of people.
And I went to Mons Venus, baby. I went to Mons Venus, and I found the hottest stripper in the club. And I said, girl, do you love me? I said, I got a lot of money. And apparently I had exactly the right amount of money today. So I bid a solid 75% of my remaining fab and got Justin Jefferson, who was WR1, right? Or if not, he's top 3. And I don't care if he's Arnold or not. Yeah, he's just so good.
He's post-buy. Again,
he's post-buy too.
Going to be one of the top 3, but then when you add in the fact that as long as he doesn't get hurt, he is basically the best wide receiver, and you never have to take him out. I don't know how you could not say that extra value helps.
Yep, that's where I'm at too. So going for the rest of the season, I got Cooper Kupp and Justin Jefferson sitting in the wide receiver slots, and barring catastrophe,
you got Barkley too,
and Barkley,
and Barkley and Cook.
Yeah, Dexter with that addition moved into probably our best overall team.
I'm saying, Barkley and
now. For
JJ
Shrewdness listeners,
so
I will tell you the party line from Paul Charchian, the Grand Poobah, the guy who made this game and all that stuff, is he would tend to tell you not go for that. All right. I do think it's a good value pick. I think that 315 is high, but not so high. It's not like 4, it's not 5, though hardly anybody has that kind of money at this point. Because the other option is you roll the dice and somebody else spends their fab, they get Justin Jefferson, but then they go out and then you get him at a cheaper price down the road.
But there's only 4 weeks left, so you can't pick up anyone after the week 14 games. So as we get into the end of the season strategies, you only have 10, 11, 12, 13. There's only 4 more weeks to bid on people, and 10's done now. So now it's just 11, 12, 13 left.
In default, this you got to talk about this too. And in default settings, unless you monkeyed with your default settings, which don't get me started, the final trade deadline is not this week, not next week, but the following week. All right.
There's no new players after week 14.
You got 3 weeks to trade, so don't lose sight of that. Don't be waivers. Like, oh, I've got this asset now, I want to trade it, and get caught up and forget. They'll lock you out, and there's no trading. So
what everybody's trying to do is find in-game people, and we talked about it a little bit last week, I think the week before too. You want to know, so if you're in week 17, who's do you want on your lineup? You need to make sure, you shouldn't have to wonder. Like, I am not wondering about wideout anymore. It's already done. I'm not really worried about running back. I mean, Barkley and Cook are going to be my running backs, and a lot of people are getting close if they're not already there. Again, barring injury, but it's nice to have some flexibility. It's your flex spots that really, that's what you're trying to lock down. You need in-gamers in the flex spot, and hopefully you can get an in-game tight end. And again, as people keep trickling off, I mean, George Kittle was the other big attraction this week, and I think he's tight end 2 behind Brock Bowers right now. And
he's post-buy.
Yep.
Right now.
That's it.
And so you're post-buy, you should value him higher than Bowers.
Post-buy.
Yep. Bowers on buy this week, obviously.
Bowers is this week. So next week.
Bowers' value jumps dramatically. But this week, obviously, he's trash because you just lose if you start him.
That's exactly right. So I think as you kind of get in there, just think about that shrewdness bands and kind of like as you got your team, man, you just got to get the end gamers. So don't bid too much on trash because again, each week you're gonna get really good players should start dropping if not already. I mean, you should be getting all the low hanging fruit of the crappy teams that haven't been able to make trades and haven't done just either bad luck or whatever. They still have a couple good players, i.e. this team.
Yeah. From here on out, there should be 2 to 3 good top tier players on every team.
Absolutely.
That are going to drop each week.
So what I was doing this week.
I want to point out that at this point, there are pretty good starters in what we tend to refer to as the bone pile.
Yeah.
There are people who are going to be available that you can pick up for free at this time who could win you the week.
Yep. Absolutely.
They're there. There are people out there that will win you the week if you pick them up. So if you know how to find a diamond better than anybody else, they are there.
That's true.
Pruitt, you got any additional strategies, Pruitt, that you'd be looking at that you personally are focused on for like this next month when you can still do your fab dollars and spend it and still pick up people?
Well, I did. So Chisholm just did the relegation type draft where you've got a limited amount of time to use fab. I went through that last year, and my advice for any listeners out there that are doing something similar is don't blow it too quickly. You got to make it last 9 weeks. It sounds a little counterintuitive, but I spent mine in the first, 4 weeks. I spent about 80% of it. And by the time I got down to that last, week 13, week 14, a couple of studs came available and I just got outbid because I threw my entire, remaining fab at one player, and somebody knew that I only had whatever it was, 260 left. So they bid 261 because they had more fab than I did.
Yeah, well, but it's also twice the fab basically because you have half the weeks.
Yeah.
You have not had 9 weeks of trying to throw your fab at at problems.
Yeah.
Like
So I think my advice is, like I mentioned just a few minutes ago, is that every week from here on out, you're going to have 2 or 3 studs available. So don't feel like you have to jump on the first stud that becomes available after week 10 because you still got the same thing's going to happen 11, 12, and 13.
Yeah.
So don't go nuts this first couple weeks. Just play it cool. Look for the guys that you want in game. And
definitely don't really spend any real money at this point unless you're like, I'm starting them the last 4 weeks of the season. Nobody's moving me off of this person. If you ask yourself a question, but could I upgrade that slot? Then you don't even, you bet like $1 to $10 max on somebody you think's not going to be an upgrade, but like you're going to upgrade. No, it's $1 to $10 max and then move on.
This is not survival. This is playing the long game now, right? You're over halfway. So start looking ahead to those last 4 weeks, making sure that you're lining up your team for the end round.
All right, so as we kind of looked ahead to this week specifically, we'll go into our next little segment. So the bye weeks you have to worry about. I mean, I don't even know if worry is the right word, but the teams on bye this week are Cleveland. So Chubb and Tillman, I guess. Green
Joku,
Bay.
I guess.
Yeah, Joku. Green Bay, you got Jordan Love, Jaden Reed, Dobbs, Kraft, Josh Jacobs. So they got some people. There's some.
If you hate yourself, Dontavius Wicks. So
yeah, I mean, if you're starting him though this late,
exactly.
And then you got Vegas. Again, they don't have Adams anymore, so it's just Bowers.
Actually, Jacoby Myers has been viable after the loss of. He's been viable after the loss of.
I still have Madison, who's been around 10, not super high end game, but
yeah, he's a dude.
Start. So he's the first guy that's going when I can't upgrade somebody, but he's been okay for the last couple weeks for me.
And then our last team that's on bye is Seattle. So Kenneth Walker, DK, even though he wasn't even playing, Jackson Smith and JSN, it's just shortening that damn name. Not really much else there. I mean, Tyler Lockett, sure, he's kind of a little bit guy, but you're not starting Noah Fant, I hope. And if you're starting Geno, God help you how you made it this far. So that's kind of what we're working on by. But say you are starting one of those guys, you're like, son of a biscuit, I've already been eating. I've been starting all my Shrewdness Sleepers every week, guys. Give me another one for DK or Tillman or Chubb, fill in the blank. we're going to jump into our Shrewdness Sleepers. First, I'm going to recap who we had last week. Then we'll jump into this week. So last week, I gave you Keon Coleman. He was dog balls. My apologies. I didn't think he was going to snap his wrist and drop the one touchdown and then make it an interception. So he was 1 for 21. He gave you a solid 3.1. But had he just caught the ball on the 1 yard line that was in both hands and fell in, would have been pretty good. So I'm going to say Keon screwed me out of
They're
that one.
keying on him, but
They're Keon on him.
Yeah,
Hey,
he's not.
He's
not getting there.
Yeah. So anyway, Keon Coleman, 0 for 1. My bad, listeners. It should have been better. Michael Wilson. So Chisholm gave you the business middle manager. So he's not going to be middle management. But then I think he was forgetting it was Kyler Murray Call of Duty week.
I did.
So Kyler Murray had a tremendous day of 13 for 20 with 154 yards and a pick. That's it. That's the whole stat line. No real rushing, no nothing. And so Michael Wilson delivered 0. Not one freaking catch. I don't even know if he had a target. I tried to find the targets. I'm sure he had to have had one. But I don't even know. There's only 7 misses, and he might have been one of those 7 misses.
I will tell you.
Anyway, atrocious.
Horrendous week.
Yep. So Padog, he's like, I got you.
He had one target.
One target. He averages 7, I think, and he had one.
One target. So that's what we had. The next one, Pruitt gave us Calvin Ridley, and he gave us exactly what we're looking for. 12.3. Got you by 5 for 73 yards, so 12.3 points. Didn't find the end zone this week. But Mason Rudolph continues to just look for him, especially with D-Hop going to the Chiefs. Go Chiefs! And
I'm going to hurt my shoulder patting myself on the back, but that's 3 sleepers in a row.
Is it?
Ayo.
All right.
And then our final Shrewdness Sleeper last week.
Raymond.
It was
delivered for
everybody saw this coming guy. I get it. It was kind of cheating because everybody knew that you probably should have had Cedric Tillman in your lineup.
Well, still, Cedric Tillman gave you 6 for 75 with a tutty, so he gave you 19.5 points of
That's right.
Solid production if you had any bye weeks you're messing with last week. So that's what we had. So Tillman, Ridley, Wilson, Coleman.
Look at this insanity. That dude has had 70 points in the last 3 weeks.
Yeah, he's averaged like 19 points a week.
Yeah, Jameis Winston has been a boon for him. Because he throws at everybody, anything, doesn't care what uniform they're wearing. He's just throwing it deep, and someone's going to catch it.
But
that's what's up.
So
that's
if you
right.
had him last week, you need help
this week. So that's what we got. So Jameis, so be it. You don't get to use him again, but that's where we are. So that's where we're starting from. We went 2 for 2 with our sleepers. So again, we're clicking over. Well, I think we're over 50% on these things. For the season.
Are. We're doing quite well on the sleepers.
So last week 2 for 2.
So it gets a little harder this week. It gets a little more challenging. We've upped our target, right? What are our criteria this week for sleepers?
40%.
Anything below 41, we feel like you probably have access to somebody who is going to be on one of our lists. You may not be everybody because, then again, in like a third-ish of these leagues, you're not going to have access to these people. But at the same time, you have a lot more options to start. So, we need to be pushing people who are more likely to actually give you something. So we have to be a little bit more aggressive.
Yep. That's what we got.
This isn't September. You can't just put anybody. Our target number is 11 points per person this week.
That's right.
Yep.
That's a lot. 11 points is not just go out there and get your 4 catches.
That's right.
You've got to really hope you either have a ton of catches.
If you get your 4 catches, you need 70 yards with it.
You've got to have the touchdowns now. You've got to start really putting together these great weeks, or you're going to fall behind your fellow players. You're gonna have somebody who goes out with 100 points this week in some guillotine league. All right, it's going to happen. We're at that stage.
Yeah.
All right. You want me? I'll go ahead and start us off. So this week, I am looking to the earliest game on Sunday in Germany.
He's going Germany.
I don't know who it is, but I already think I know who it is, and I agree with it 100%.
So I'm looking at Xavier Leggett.
Yep.
Yeah.
And again, Bryce Young's playing, man, and he likes Xavier Leggett. And he threw to him quite a bit last week. He had a pretty good line. And they're going against the Giants. And the Giants aren't really just a wrecking ball of defense. And I think there's going to be I think it's going to be a competitive game. And like we talked about in multiple episodes, you're looking for competitive games to make people keep throwing and playing. So you don't go into some vanilla offense where they just hand it off. I think they're going to give Jonathan Brooks, who's getting activated this week, some looks. Chuba Hubbard. I think they're really going to look at what they got. So I think Legette's going to get targeted quite a bit. And again, we're looking at our goalies, 27% or 23%. I can't even read my own handwriting. It's low.
23.1% for Xavier Legette. So he's one of the most likely to be available. And I think he should probably be rostered if you have the space. It's hard to have the space right now.
But
if for some reason your bye weeks are lining up and you need like a dart throw, I think that's a pretty good one. And people often talk about the fantasy community that you're going to have these rookies who come on in the second half after they finally start figuring out offenses.
Yep.
And if you can target the right rookies, you're going to get some game-winning level stuff. I agree with John, and so we've been talking about it if you listen to our other podcast, but I think another great option is Roma Dunze with the Chicago Bears.
Is that your pick?
1.5%. I think Roma Dunze is showing that he is likely going to be the number one.
So is this Lou's sleeper?
This is mine. I'm transitioning.
Yeah.
Chisholm, it's called transitioning.
Yeah.
I was using my point.
You didn't make it clear. You said if you might consider someone. I was like, okay, like is this a pick or you just wasting?
I thought I would try to do a soft transition.
All right, I didn't want you wasting a pick.
I agree with your strategy, John Dexter.
Right.
And then I talk about, hey, we have the
another
rookie second half bump that people sometimes talk about in the fantasy community. My shot is going for Roma Dunze, which is available. And New England not been particularly awesome. In fact, the Calvin Ridley pick last week was against the same defense. I like the option there, and I think that, though the problem I would have is if you're going to play him this week, be very careful after this. Chicago's schedule gets rough, and you might get some bad matchups, but I think he may be the number one there. So, yeah. It's a bet on Caleb, but regardless, you get New England, so I think this week's fun.
I like it. All right. Pruitt, do you have one ready to go?
I also liked Adunze. I was looking at that before.
If you need to find another one, Chisholm, do you have one ready to go?
I'm going to keep looking.
Yeah, I do. I had a couple. Let me. So I think both the picks that were made already are really good. But I think I'm going to go with a little less likely candidate. We're going to go with a tight end, and a tight end that is matching up against the LA Scarams. Jonnu Smith, tight end for the Dolphins. I like him. He's starting to get more targets. He had 6 targets last week.
It felt like 1,000.
It did feel like
Tyreek Hill owner. Yeah. I promise you, it felt like way more than that.
It did. It felt like a lot, and I feel like there's a comfort level that Tua has with him. Seems to be a good security blanket for him coming back. So I like Jonnu's chances. I think he pulls a tutty in this week against the Rams.
Well, he was targeted last week in the end zone, so I think it's a good idea. It's a good pick. Yeah. And what's he owned right now? He's low, right?
Oh, he's only owned at 12.9% of the league. So
you basically he's free to get if you want. Go out and get him right now.
You can throw him in a flex spot, and I can tell you, man, starting multiple tight ends, it can work.
That's right.
That's right. Every week, I'm doing it again this week. All right, Padog, did you dig someone up?
All right, I've got 2 different quarterbacks that are possibilities. Hear me out. You're not gonna like one of them, I can tell you.
Mm-hmm. Don't go with
I'll start with the one that's not that guy. So Russell Wilson has played all right.
Yeah.
He's facing Washington this week. He's owned by 18.5% of leagues. He's put in a 25-point effort against the Jets in week 7.
Yep.
Not as great against the Giants. But he did clear our criteria. And Washington, he's predicted to have in the 16 to 17-point range. Washington's not got an outstanding defense. So Russell Wilson's a maybe decent play if you're Well, if you have Geno Smith and who's on bye this week, then you probably should have already had Russell Wilson on your team. But if you don't, maybe now's your opportunity to pick him up.
That's exactly it. I like it. All right. So that is our Shrewdness Sleepers for the week. So to recap what we got, we've got Xavier Legette. Again, he's playing in the Munich game, Carolina versus the Giants. We've got Rome Odunze for Chicago against New England. We got Jonnu Smith tight end for Miami against the Rams. And then we got Russell Wilson, Pittsburgh quarterback, against Washington. So I think he's on the road, but still should have a good series. They're coming off the bye, so they should have been prepping for 2 straight weeks about how to attack this Commanders team. So that's what we got. All right. Next one, we're going to go into one that we failed miserably in last week.
Actually,
Absolutely
if you had faded
miserable.
us, holy bejeebus.
That's exactly it. So the Shrewdness Spuds. We were very excited about telling you who to sit.
You misspoke. We called that the Studs.
Studs. I know. I misspoke.
You
the
misspoke.
Shrewdness
We actually
Studs.
said these are the must-starts of the week.
The Mustuds. Oh, God, we really shish kebab the bed, but we take ownership on this show. We take accountability. We're going to rehash.
We own it.
And I'm going to rehash how phenomenal these 4 were. If you would have prop bet faded us, you would have been in your
laddered.
yacht.
Ladder.
You got to ladder it. Oh, my good
So
Lord.
two of them were number 4 and number 6 overall.
Yeah. And they were top
in
2 for a
fantasy
while.
scoring this week.
All right, we'll do it the closest one that almost was crappy. The worst one of our Spuds, bringing you 14.9 points. Malik Neighbors with 9 catches for 59 yards. Fortunately,
they nearly shut him down.
they almost got him. He didn't get the 10th one. There you go, Bish. You're not getting double digits. No double on me. Oh my gosh. He didn't get a touchdown, and that's the only reason he's not. Shit, that's the worst one of our Spuds, 14.9. The next worst. And frankly, this one probably would have been, but for a phenomenal catch at the end. So Devontae Smith, 18.7 points, 4 catches, 87 yards, and a tutty. But if you saw that tutty, it was a hell of a catch. And before that, you take that one catch away that was barely in because he had a nice flat shin.
Man.
He was 3 for 62. So I think the read was right. I think he made a phenomenal catch at the
That was props though. That was incredible catch. It was really good.
62
That was an
would have
8-point
still
play.
been 9 points and right on the edge of like.
Yeah.
But he was projected for more. And that's the thing. We were trying to tell you guys you weren't going to meet projections. So, whatever, man. Sometimes things turned up. Whatever. He got in there. Good for you if you started him and didn't sit him against Chisholm's advice. But regardless. Pruitt, he got you started on Thursday with a guaranteed Spud, Garrett Spud Wilson. And what did he do? Let me tell you what he did.
Catch of a generation.
So
next to the Saquon Barkley, of course, had the run of a generation.
Yeah. And then we
had the catch of a generation.
Yeah. So he made Odell Beckham's catch from a few years back. He's like, that was weak. So Garrett Wilson says, not only that, I'm going to go 9 for 90. And you know what? I'm going to, not just one tutty, I'm getting 2, and I'm going to make one of the most phenomenal catches you'll ever see. Because I'm going to catch it with my front hand, which my son's been doing. I'm like, no one ever catches like that, idiot. Use your other hand. And then, lo and behold, it's become a trend this season. I'm seeing it left and right everywhere. Totally. And so, I guess he just knew before I knew.
I thought I was in decent shape because near halftime, it was 3 catches for 13 yards.
Yes.
Is how he started. And then second half, he had a ridiculous half. And
he finished with 30. That's the short of it.
Badly on that one.
But taking the cake of the worst possible stud was myself. So I said, Zay Flowers, no ways he can have a good game against Patrick Surtain because Pat Surtain locks down everybody every single week, except last week. And then what's funny is all the highlights, I didn't even see Surtain near him. I don't know what kind of defense they were playing or if it's just go play backyard football, and Sertan's like, well, I'm going to play linebacker today. I like linebacker. Screw cornerback. I don't know what happened, but we had a broken play at the end of the half that went forever for a touchdown. At the end of the day, though, Zay Flowers, I hope you didn't listen to me because that would have been a mistake. 5 for 127 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 31.7 points on your bench. I'm sorry. Now you got chopped, and Zay Flowers is available to the rest of your league mates. We freaking missed terribly. I don't know how on earth they all had career days. The 1 week, we spot them up to suck. They did not. Career freaking day.
Fact, did not.
So, God, we just absolutely shit the bed for you listeners, and I feel really bad because I had the worst one.
There's lots of places to get content. Sometimes you go to places that are awesome for the quality of their content. Ours is awesome for the quality of our presentation.
Oh my God, this is horrible. So we're going to try and do better this week. I'm just going to wait till the end, and I'm going to pick someone that's on a bench or something because I did not do well. So we don't really have set criteria for us, Spuds. It's just kind of we look at the matchups like, I don't know if they'll be that good this week.
I'm picking Kenneth Walker, who's on bye this week.
Yeah. I project him for a solid 0. All right, so I'm going to just sit back. I want to see who we got. So, Lewis, do you have anyone that's like jumping out at you? Like, I don't know about this one. This could be kind of bad.
All right. It might feel like a cop-out, but I think
well, after last week, we need a cop-out.
I think this is the week you thought that you were safe to get back in the water. It was time to start a Washington Commanders quarterback. But I think this week is the week that you really avoid Jaden Daniels. I do believe you are going to regret it. I think Pittsburgh is coming in with some thunder post-bye. And I think that they're gonna scheme up some stuff for the rookie. I would be very cautious about starting Jaden Daniels, even though he's at home. And in fact, that might be a little bit of what I might be looking at for my pick for this week as well, as Pittsburgh to actually be the road dog. So I would
like
fade
I do like that one.
Jaden Daniels this week. That's my pick.
I like that pick, actually, Lou. I'm going to go super high risk, okay? Super high risk. This guy is owned in 88.7% of the leagues. I'm telling you, he's going to have a really bad week, and that's Alvin Kamara.
No.
And here,
mine was 80.6, by the way. Mine was 80.6. I was well over the.
And here's the reason Alvin Kamara is going to have a bad week. Number one, he doesn't have a coach. That's a problem. Number two,
that helps have a coach.
Number two, they're playing Atlanta, which is a traditional rival. Number three, he's coming off his heaviest workload of the season against Carolina. He had a great day, and you guys are like, "What are you talking about?" He had 155 yards. He had 60 yards receiving. He had 27 points. You're insane.
He did. He had a crap load of points.
But that's exactly why. He's 29 years old. That's a lot of work. He's going against a rival. The team doesn't have anything left to play for. And I think Atlanta is going to make life really tough on him. So that's my spot.
I would not be surprised if he suddenly came up lame.
I would not either. So I do not like the outlook for Mr. Kamara this week. High risk, but I'm going with him as my spot.
All right.
You got to pick somebody with some risk, guys. You can't, again, take somebody on by like somebody just tried to do.
I don't think you would try to do it.
That's a joke. That's a joke.
Is it?
But, Dog, you got one?
Although Brock Powers is another one I wouldn't start this week. I wouldn't start
him. He's looking like he may be riding some pine this week.
All right. I'm going to take a risky pick, too. I'm going to say CeeDee Lamb may have a rough week.
Is it really that risky?
I think that's
I think so.
Well, everybody's going to start CeeDee Lamb, but it's also like, is Cooper Rush the next thing?
Right.
Yeah,
so it's Cooper Rush starting.
Or right? Trey Lance once he sucks.
Oh, yeah.
You haven't heard. Dak Prescott's out, so...
who are we kidding? It's Cooper Rush.
It's Cooper Rush.
You know why it's Cooper Rush? Because that coach is like fingernail gripping his last vestiges of coachdom.
Totally.
So CD's not going to have his normal quarterback. He's also beat up. He left the game for a while this last week. His shoulder was really bothering him. They can't run the ball. It's going to be a pin your ears back and go after the quarterback every play.
And that team's got not a lot to play for now.
Yeah,
I love it. I hate CeeDee Lamb right now for
yeah. So I mean, he's a stud player. He might still get 6-8 catches, but he's not going to put up 20 points that you're used to from him.
All right. So I'm going to go with someone who's probably in most people's starting running backs, if you have them. But J.K. Dobbins, he's been doing really well in a run-heavy attack. But Tennessee is someone that sucks, but not their defense.
Yeah.
Bizarrely.
They have the number 1 ranked defense for total yards, number 1 in passing. So they're going to lock it down. They're going to force them to run. They're going to stack the stupid box.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to become one-dimensional really quick for the Chargers. I think it's going to be really hard for them to find room.
Having watched that game last week as a Tony Pollard follower, Ramondre Stevenson had a deceptive amount of points. He did literally nothing, but he had 2 touchdowns. I think.
Yeah, he caught him in the backfield.
Yeah, but it was but he had almost no yards. It was like he just he caught the weird Hail Mary from the 10.
Yeah,
he did. It was. And I think Vidal is going to probably get some more passing downs because J.K. Dobbins really isn't a passing back, a pass catching back. So I just think he's going to underperform probably substantially. And I could be wrong. Maybe they just trucked Tennessee this week.
What are you saying? We're wrong on Spud picks ever? Come on.
Hey,
I don't know. I can't be. If I keep it under 30 this week, I'm doing pretty good.
Yeah.
Hey. But you know what, folks? Just remember, we're trying to be aggressive with people who you should otherwise be starting.
That's right.
Yep.
We're making you think. Making you think.
Yep.
Now, that said, you may want to do a little parlay with all 4 of those guys.
Prop bets?
Who knows?
You gotta ladder it. Just ladder these things all day.
If you can ladder a prop bet, then yes.
Did they all
probably just if we just saved you in Guillotine,
who are our?
All right.
So
I think there's that website, buy us a cup of coffee or whatever it is.
Who's our fourth? Who was our 4th dude last week?
So last week we had Flowers, Smith, Wilson, Neighbors.
And
this week we're gonna go. So here's our summary for this week.
You could have done anytime touchdowns and been pretty damn good last week.
The Shrewdness Spuds that we are predicting for week 10. We have Jaden Daniels, who's been killing it, but not this week. He's just going to be average. We got CeeDee Lamb, led the league in everything last year. Nope, not this week. He's going to suck. And we got Cooper Rush going against Philly, and Dallas just always does opposite. So he should have a great game, but he won't.
Right.
We got Alvin Kamara, who's just been a juggernaut for you. He's been carrying your team week after week. He's been just the anchor. Nope, not this week. He's going to suck. And then J.K. Dobbins, 30 carries, 200 yards. He's going to be – no, not this week. He's not going to carry the load against the fierce 2-win Tennessee Titans.
That's right.
So, yeah, I just be cautious in all those. So, Daniels, Lamb, Kamara, Dobbins are Spuds of the week.
I'm still starting Kamara.
Well, we didn't give you a Shrewdness Sleeper to start in place of them.
That's right.
So the running backs are a bit thin, but just temper expectations.
That's
all right. So we want to move into some gambling picks?
Let's do it.
All right. So we're going to rehash last week's gambling picks. And we're kind of just middling right now. We're not middling killing people, but 2-2 again last week. So our picks, we gave you Cincinnati minus 7.5 and went through all that and worked out. They trucked Las Vegas. So that's fantastic. That's a winner.
Yeah.
Green Bay, Detroit. Love came back. Going to be a shootout. The top 2 teams projected at the beginning of the season for that division. There was only one team that showed up that day.
Yep.
And it wasn't the home team for the Lamboos. It was the Detroit Lions just trucking Green Bay. It wasn't even really a contest. It looked ugly and it got worse.
Never close.
So, yeah, the plus 3.5 just never materialized. We needed plus 30 to make that happen. All right, Los Angeles Rams. So Padog gave us the Rams at Seattle. We just keep picking on Seattle on the home team. We're picking on Team 12, the 12th man. Not again. So Rams win it on a Matt Stafford play to DeMarcus Robinson, the end zone, and another phenomenal play. There's a lot of phenomenal plays last week. DeMarcus saved us.
That was a one-handed.
He looks like he's growing up a little bit. He's doing a lot more smart things with the football. I will say he's a better wide receiver.
And including covering our bet.
Bread.
Yep, including covering our bet. And then Lewis, he tried to zag, but Dallas is just not good. They're just not good. So they are unzaggable. We'll see. Maybe this will be the week.
They effing suck. They said it themselves.
Yeah. Even Dak said they suck, and then he just quit. He's like, "I'm out. I'm going."
Peace out. And at the end of the game, are you kidding?
Yeah, he's gone fishing, to use the old NBA playoff proverb.
That's right.
He's gone fishing. So Dallas +3 at Atlanta. We thought it'd be competitive. We thought it'd be something. Yeah, no, not really. Atlanta pretty comfortably. I mean, it was sort of a closer score, but not really. So we went 2 for 2 for you last week. Still feel pretty good. Hey, Pruitt, do you have our total season? I think we're probably still a couple under.
I'm miserable. I cannot do anything right.
You are pretty miserable.
I'm taking payments for anybody who wants to make my pick for me if you want to save your season.
Not gonna lie, you've been pretty miserable, but I feel like it's got to turn, right? Like law of averages, it's got to turn.
But what we did do, and if you're following us on our socials, we put this out in the middle, right before the Chiefs game, I believe. We did hit a parlay. We went 4 for 4.
It was an awesome parlay.
We nailed it. So we had Kelsey over 61. We had D-Hop over 3.5 receptions. We had Kareem Hunt, I think, over 65 yards.
70. I said over 70, which was like a plus number. It was like plus 130 or something.
Yeah.
Nice. And then what was our last one?
Baker.
Mayfield. Baker's scrambling for
yards.
his life for 14 yards, and he hit that too. So we hit you a 4 for 4 if you followed us on our parlay for our little Chiefs game.
We're going
to start doing more of those. Those are fun.
They're really fun.
In-game parlays for props. We're not doing necessarily the actual picks, but we're going to try to do some props. So you're watching the game and you're rooting for your things to happen.
Especially for like the Thursday night, Sunday night, Monday night game. So look for our parlay. We're going to put that on our socials for each one of those. We're each picking a prop bet to hit. We've been doing pretty damn well, just to be dead honest.
If you hit that prop bet, you probably got about a 10-1. So that is it's a great. Quick. You only got to hit 1 out of 10 of those things to break even. We'll be putting those on our socials. I know a lot of you reacted to that. We got some good response when we put. You'll see the Shrewdness Power Parlay, and we'll be doing that.
Hopefully soon. Sponsored by FanDuel.
Sponsored by FanDuel.
Or DraftKings. We aren't picky.
Or DraftKings.
Visit responsiblegaming.org for responsible gaming.
I think, at least mine, I think we all used slightly different variations, but it was something close to that. And mine was a plus 12.23.
Yep.
So $66 on a $5 bet.
Yep.
Yeah.
Again, and to be clear, parlays are sucker bets, especially same game parlays, unless you follow us, and then they're smart.
I mean, don't listen to our people that are going to suck. We just invigorate them. We charge them up.
If my child ever listens to this, never do same game parlays.
No.
They are really a sucker's bet, but we had fun doing it.
But they're so much fun.
But they're fun.
They're so much fun.
And you only have to hit one every 10 weeks, and you're.
That's right. So. And you're good.
All right. So let's hit it up. Chisholm, do you have one to get us started for this week?
I do.
Your question before, Dex, was our overall record. We are 14, 20, and 1. Right?
Oh, my word. This is the worst season we've had in 3 years.
Like
ever.
3 or 4 years, yeah. It really...
So we're due for a runner. We keep saying it.
Law of averages, it all comes back.
Bizarrely, like, there are things that we are really nailing with this, and then for some reason, when it comes down to these actual picks, it's just not coming through. I don't get it.
Yeah. It's going to happen, though, and it's going to start this week with this one.
So we can move on to my pick, which I've already spoiled if you listen to the guillotine process. I look, Washington's been great. It's been a feel-good story, but I really do think that Pittsburgh overall right now is a better team because they already have the best defense in football, And their offense has been competent, and Washington's defense has been a little bit dicey. I think it all catches up to them. Is Washington still going to be fun to watch? Are they still good? Are they still going to be entertaining? Yes. Are they a field goal better than Pittsburgh right now? They are not. All right. Even at home, I just don't see it. I would absolutely take Pittsburgh Washington or Pittsburgh plus 2.5. Yep. I think that's I would prefer if you got the 3, but I would take 2.5. If you can buy the hook, and it's probably better.
Absolutely. I like it. All right, Pruitt, do you have one ready to roll?
I do.
Okay.
So I'm kind of going the opposite of Chisholm's idea there. Tennessee and Chargers game, LA Chargers.
Yep.
Over under is 39.
Yep.
And there's a huge advantage for the underdog in games like that, right? It's going to be a low scoring game.
That's right.
Tennessee's had a surprisingly good defense. I think they can hang close.
Rudolph has been surprisingly competent.
He was competent last year for Pittsburgh too for a while.
Yeah,
that's the thing. He's just, you don't want him as your starter, but as a backup.
So I like Tennessee plus 7.5 against the Chargers this week.
All right,
you get the back door. Don't forget that back door.
All right, I am going to go again. I don't know if it's. We're going with our deal that has been tried and true all season long. The Chiefs break teams for 2 weeks. And now Tampa's broke. And they have the worst team you'd want to have coming into your stadium after losing to the Chiefs in overtime, the San Francisco 49ers. And they are bringing their returning all-world running back, CMC, with them. They're bringing a healthy Debo. They're bringing just Purdy. I think it's going to be ass kicking. I think San Fran's going to cover 6.5 and then some. I know a lot of people think Tampa Bay, and I get it. I understand why. But the Chiefs break people. So I'm doing San Fran minus 6.5 at Tampa.
I got to say, just for your awareness purposes.
Yeah.
That line has gone a full point towards Tampa Bay. That's great. But it's only 5.5 you got to cover now, not 6.5.
All right, well, that's even better.
I'm just saying, that's great. If you really like San Francisco, that's great. But that means people are loving Tampa Bay at that 6.5 number. So you're not getting 6.5.
I think some of that, Lou, is because they took the Chiefs to overtime. Like they put on a good show, but
yeah, but they played an overtime game. They have a short week.
Yeah,
they get their best shot, and I think they're just gonna be no wideouts, man. No wideouts against San Fran, and then Nick Bosa is gonna come slam your butt all the time, and then you got.
A very excited Nick Bosa who got his president.
Right?
So they're also coming off their bye.
Mayfield this week. Someone's coming with a.
I'm excited. Yep. All right, so that's what we got there.
They're also coming off their bye week, which is always a big advantage rest-wise. So.
They have to travel. That's the big negative.
Yep. Yeah. It is. But so far, that travel hasn't bothered a lot of people going to Seattle.
I would say the travel thing seems to have not been as important as we want.
No. Like at all. It's really strange. Yeah. All right. What do we got, Chisholm?
All right. So I keep telling myself, like, this is too good to be true. And so I usually avoid any too good to be true bets.
It better not be the Germany game. We are not picking the Germany game.
No, it's not the Germany game. But I have to go here because I see absolutely no reason that the Dallas Cowboys show up for this game. It's a 7-point line. The Eagles have been playing really well. There's lots of reasons that I would usually Brent pulls away from these. Usually I go, no way. Everyone thinks this is a no-brainer. I can see no world in which the Cowboys keep this within a touchdown. So I'm going to go minus 7.
It was 6.5. It's gone to 7. So yeah,
it's gone to. Honestly, I'm thinking of laddering this game because I just don't see any way. The talent level on that side of the ball is enormous. And the bigger issue to me is they just lost their quarterback. They know there's nothing to play for. And, like, if the Eagles don't beat them by double digits, then shame on the Eagles. So I'm going with what I feel like should be a layup. Eagles -7.
Does it matter that they're probably getting the defensive player of the NFC potentially?
Micah Parsons coming back this week.
I don't think
it doesn't matter still.
I don't think it matters at all.
Okay.
I don't think.
Just going out there, it's kind of a relatively important point
because the guy's coming off of a big lag. Game speed's different. I don't think he's going to be Micah Parsons next week.
Blanking that Cooper Rush played a competent game against the Eagles a couple years ago.
It was
competent.
That was like his oh my God, is Cooper Rush a thing?
It was competent.
I want to point out some devils. I don't hate it. I want to throw out some.
No, listen. I'll be the first to say this goes against my tendencies. I'm usually a run to the smell guy. I'm usually a break. But listen, I cannot make a world in which this game is within a touchdown after what I've seen from the Cowboys and after I've seen the Eagles actually rounding into form lately more than I've expected.
Once, right?
And Pruitt, I just want to make sure we're aware that Pruitt's pick also moved a full point towards people already have been taking Tennessee, just to make sure that I get that in.
Is it 7.5 or no?
It's 7.5. It was 8.5 on Sunday night.
Okay.
So this week, just in the last few days,
you need
has been streaming.
Play some
you
quick.
need to get it before it gets to 7, right?
Yeah.
Well,
for sure.
Before it gets to 6.5.
I like that. I like the low scoring underdog play.
There's a certain other one that I probably will bet too.
There is another one that is.
The Shrewdness listeners didn't get my real pick last week, which I sent out to the boys, which was Miami to cover the number against Buffalo when I really had spent some time to kind of look at everything, and I was right.
You were right.
Yeah.
I really thought Miami was going to win. I really did. And it came down to the last seconds. I was really close.
And even though we're not picking the Germany game, plus 6.5 in a low scoring game between two teams that can't score.
Yeah.
Just saying.
It's one that's there.
The only issue is that those games are so God-blessed weird.
They are so
They just
funky.
are never normal.
It's going to
the
be like
fumble return touchdowns and kickoff returns, and suddenly they've scored 20 points on nothing.
It's going to be a blocked
But
extra
I agree
point
with you. My bias is the Giants are not 6 points better than the Panthers. They're both ass. They're ass and ass plus, okay?
Totally.
You don't get 6 points when New York Giants adjusted over under for the season is at 4.5 now or 5 wins. Right? It's not even that much better than the Panthers who have the worst one, but it's one more win. So they get a full touchdown and a neutral site. Or not a full touchdown, but close to it. This is crazy.
Pretty much.
But it's a Germany game, and I think you're probably just playing with fire. It's closer to a preseason game than a regular season game. You just got to be careful with that stuff. But
they're just weird. They're just weird games. So
I
you're
love that idea. I listened to a pod on the way home today that we might try to replicate some percentage of or do something with our spin on it. I loved it. The second half over-unders, we're not doing it tonight, but the second half over-unders basically are out. So we've done 9 games or 9 weeks. We get 9 weeks, and they have new adjusted over-unders. And I think we should be giving our picks for what we think and having you take some of those. So if we can maybe do a short pod on one of these days, maybe Saturday evening before the game, so we get them out there before if you really wanted to and put them out on the socials. We could do maybe a half-hour redux of everybody needs to pick their favorite adjusted 3 to 4 of your favorite adjusted new over-under win totals that people might want to try to take. Maybe even parlay them.
Yeah,
it is.
I definitely got mine after listening to people talk about it.
And by the way, a standing pick here on the Shrewdness is take whoever the Chiefs are playing plus the points before the kickoff, and then live line the Chiefs, and you will make lots of money. So The Chiefs will not. The Chiefs will not beat the Broncos by 7.5. They won't. They should.
Nope.
They should kill them, but they won't. It'll be within 7.5. So wait for the Broncos to score on the first drive, which they will.
Have Butker coming out for a last-second field goal.
Or if you want to be like super risky, wait until they go up 17-0 and really get your odds up there.
Yeah.
Wait till it hits plus 400 and then go nuts.
Oh, if for some reason the Chiefs are down 3 touchdowns, in like the last 2 years, it's happened like one time that you're chasing sucks. It can happen, but like we've seen them do it so many times. If they go down 90%? Really big, you just keep biting at it.
It's happened.
Here, $10
it's
there.
happened. It's happened so many times that Vegas refuses to give plus odds now. So
even down like 14, I'm like, come on, why is it minus 110?
Vegas is like, 21 points isn't enough for plus odds.
Yeah.
I feel like Patty's
they'll
adding
give you
to
plus
his contract.
100. They'll give you like your money.
Yeah, here's your
I know
dollar.
It's 14-3 in the third quarter, but you get plus 1.
Still not going to give you plus odds.
Yeah, but then you look at everybody else's
look
odds.
at Live Line and Chiefs. It really has been the most print your own money like stuff, and you have to like sweat it, and it kind of sucks because you always have. It is fun though. Every once in a while, it doesn't happen. But this season, obviously, if you at any point took a money line bet on the Chiefs at any point, you win because they haven't lost.
Yep.
You're going to make money.
I'll go ahead and knock that time. So summing up our bets again. So we have San Fran minus 5.5 at Tampa. We have Philly minus 7 at Dallas. Tennessee plus 7.5-ish at Chargers. Pittsburgh plus 2.5 at Washington. Wow, we did all road teams. All right, Road Warriors, let's go. We don't need any home smashings this week. So that's what we got. Shrewdness. All right. Anything else we want to touch on, boys? I think that kind of is it.
That's it, I think. Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for listening. Follow the socials. We're going to have some power parlays out on Thursday night, Sunday night, Monday night for sure. And if we find a game we really like during the early slate or late slate, maybe we'll do that as well. All right.
Yep.
And Lewis
thanks for joining us.
Out of here.
And Lewis is gone.
Yeah. Did you not see the
Irish?
Bye. Yep.
All right.
Thanks for joining. Good to see y'all. We will be back again next week to do it all again.
Thanks for the music, Scotty Bo. I think we're going to have you come on as a guest soon.
Yeah, we should do that.
That'd be great.
Absolutely. Thanks for the tunes. Thanks for checking us out.
All right. This is the Shrewdness Podcast signing off. Take care.